So last couple days we talked about logarithms, right? Yesterday we had our practice on it. The day before we had the notes. Those things still are in effect, right? We use the e to convert from log to an exponent, right? To see which piece is missing. It's the same thing. The difference today is that there's a special type of log, right? It's called a natural log. A natural log follows the same rules as the logs we've seen already. So it's not anything special. The only thing is it looks different, right? You'll see this guy, ln. ln. It means natural log. I don't know why it's ln instead of nl, but it means natural log. So what a natural log means is a log, a regular log, but its base is e, right? E, that number that we talked about last chapter, right? When we did compound interest, E, sometimes we use E. That is what the base is. So when you see a natural log, so I highlighted the two in pink, they mean the same thing. They mean exactly the same thing. ln is the same thing as log with a base of E. Okay? It follows all the same rules that we talked about. Nothing is different except just the way it looks. That's all. Okay? Okay, so example number 1 says, what is the value of a natural log of E? All right. Well, the first thing is I'm going to change it. The first thing is I'm going to change the way it looks. Instead of ln, I'm going to write what ln means. ln means log with a base of E. That's what that means. Okay? And then next to it was the E. And I need to figure out what that equals. What is that equal to? Okay, just like we did yesterday, the day before that. So you're going to use the loop trick, the E, to rewrite it. So it has a base of E. The power is question mark. The answer is E. So it's going to look like E to some power equals E. That's how it's written as an exponent. Now our job is to figure out what the missing part is. So what would that power be to make it true? What would the power need to be to make it true? 1, right? I'm not, because to go from regular E to regular E, we don't need to change anything. So that's just the power of 1. So the answer is 1. Okay. Number 2, or letter B. Again, first thing I'm going to do is change it. So I can do the loop trick. Mainly I just do it so I can do the loop. Okay. E to the 6th power, and then equals what? So base of E, question mark, E to the 6th. So in other words, E to what power equals E to the 6th? What power needs to go there to make them true? 6. So the value is 6. Okay. All right, let's try letter C now. I'm going to rewrite it. So instead of ln, I'm going to write natural or log base of E. Now I have E 1 over E squared. Okay. So again, this is the same thing as this guy here. These two are the same. The ones in pink are exactly the same. So I'm going to do the loop. E to what power makes 1 over e to the second power. What power would cause e to go to the bottom and be squared? It has to be a negative, right? A negative to move it to the bottom. Good. A negative 2. If I were to make this guy negative 2, it would move to the bottom and become positive 2. So it's a negative 2. Okay. Let's look at the next one. So now you have root 3 e squared. So we do the loop trick. Do the loop. So I get e to some power equals the third root of e squared. What power would I need to make the third root of e squared? What power makes that? Yeah, so the top is the power, right? The power is 2. The bottom is the root. 3. 2/3. It would take a power of 2/3. Right? You've done that before. I'm just care about the power. All I care about is this guy here, what that guy's going to be. So if I were to put 2/3 here, that would make this. So I just worry about the power. Yeah. Yeah, because the e's are already there. So I just focus on the power. Yeah. Okay. All right. So do 1e now. What power? What's the missing part? Okay, so you're going to do your loop. E to what power makes 1 over e? So what power would I need to move it to the bottom? -1. Yep. -1. You're done. Okay, so that's when you're working with natural logs. That's how to solve natural logs. How to evaluate, I should say, natural logs. Okay. The other thing we're going to look at is properties. There are 3 properties: product, quotient, and power. Okay, so I'm going to give you some time to write these down, and then we're gonna practice with them. They're not as bad as it looks. They're not that bad. They have a lot of stuff. They have the word log in them, but they're not as bad. I wrote one with a log and one with a natural log. So this is the product property. So write the product, quotient, and power. They're both on the they're on the board too. So so with each of these guys, each of the properties, you're doing 2 things. You're either expanding or condensing. One side of the equal sign is expanding and one side is condensing. This side is the condensed side. There's only one log and everything's brought m and n are together. This side is expanded. The m and the n are separate. There's 2 logs, right? So they're going to ask you to do 2 things: condense or expand. So it just depends. If we're condensing, we're going to go this way. We're going to start over here and move this way to look like this. If we're expanding, we're going to start over here and end like this. Okay, we're going to use 3 properties. The first one is the product. Second one is the quotient. Quotient. Quotient and product are exactly the same. The only difference is, product has multiplication and addition. Quotient has division and subtraction. That's the only difference between those two. Addition goes with multiplication, subtraction goes with division. Okay? So these guys are the condensed versions. These guys are the expanded versions. So the condensed sides have division. The expanded sides have subtraction. That's just the way it is. Okay? And then the last one is the power. Power. When we have powers. So the power, you see if a log has a power, you just move it to the front. It just moves to the front. It moves from up here to the front and multiplication. It becomes a coefficient. Okay, see the power here, it just moved here. So it was here, and then it moved here. So it's no longer there. Okay, so we're going to use those three. Sometimes we need to use one of them. Sometimes we need to use two of them. Sometimes we need to use all three properties. Just depends on the problem. So the first thing they're going to ask us to do is condense. Make smaller. Make it smaller. Okay? So 2A. Condense this guy. A is expanded. How do I know it's expanded? Because it has plus in it. It's expanded. So first thing I have to do is decide which properties am I going to use to bring it together. Right? Well, you see a plus. So that means I'm going to definitely be using the product. Is there any division? Nope. So, subtraction. Is there any subtraction? No. So we don't need to use a quotient. Are there any powers? How do we know if there are powers? If it's expanded, we look for things in front of the log. So are there anything in front of the log? There is, right? Letter Z. Z's in front. So what we're going to do with Z is we're going to move it up here. It's a power. So I'm going to rewrite it. Log B plus log D with a power of Z. We move the power back to where the D was. We still have addition though. Well, the product property says get rid of addition by putting these two guys together. Okay? So I'm going to put B and D to the Z together with only one log. B and D to the Z. The product property says use multiplication. Put them together using multiplication. How do I know I'm done condensing? Well, there's only one log. One log. There was two to begin with, now there's only one. You condensed. Okay. All right, 2B. Again, I have a power because the 5's in front. So I need to move that over here to the k. And I have subtraction. Okay, so let me rewrite it. I have log k to the fifth minus log, and that looks like a q. Okay, I moved the power. Don't have to worry about that anymore. But I still have subtraction. And I still have two logs. Well, to take care of that, I'm going to put them together by putting one log. Since it's subtraction, the quotient property says use division to put them together. So on top is going to be k to the fifth, since it comes first, and on bottom is going to be q. So this is the condensed version, and this is the expanded version. They're both the same thing. One is just condensed, and one is just expanded. All right, try C. Try letter C right below it. Okay, so you needed to move the 7 with the b again, b to the 7th, because it was in front. Subtraction in between the two logs, so you use division. You're done. That's condensing. The opposite of condensing is expanding. So these guys here, for number 3, are already condensed. They're already condensed. We have to expand them, go the opposite direction. Okay? So the first thing I see is I have multiplication because it's 5 times x to the 4th. So I know I'm going to use product property. And I have a power, so I'm going to use power property. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is separate them. So 5 is going to get a log. I'm going to use a plus sign because there was multiplication. And x to the 4th is going to get a log. The last step is power. Move the power to the front of the log. So log of 5 plus 4 times log of x. It's fully expanded. If I were to condense this like I did on the last problems, I should get this as my answer. That's how you can check your answer. If you condense this, I should get this. If I expanded this, I should get this. You're just going backwards and forwards. Okay. All right, letter B. Well, again, this one has division. So that's the quotient property. So I'm going to separate using subtraction. So log x cubed minus log y squared. Okay, so they're separated. Now, powers. This guy's got a power of 3, so I'm going to move that to the front. This guy's got a power of 2, I'm going to move that to the front. 2 times log of x minus 2. Oops, no, this is 3. It should be 3. This guy has a power of 3. Done. I'm going to give you one more, C. Let's see. Let me give you no. Okay. No, let me do that. 9 plus. Actually, you know what? No. Sorry. Just giving you the answer. Let me give you the question. Okay. Expand that one. Look at my answers. I have 2 answers. Is one right, one wrong? Are they both right? None of them right? They're both right. Yeah. Why are they both right? You're right.
Because 2 times log 3 is the same as log 9.
Exactly, right? This guy I can put here, and doesn't that make 9? So they're both the same. They're both exactly the same. They're both correct. You get full credit if you put that as your answer. You'd get full credit if you put this as your answer. You don't need both, but they're both correct. Okay? All right, last thing. Last thing, I have a few practice problems for you guys to do, and then we'll be done. For A, B, and C. Okay, so A, the missing power is 4. B, the missing power is 1/5 because it's the 5th root. And then C, you got a couple things going. To expand it, you have multiplication on top, division there. So you see how I put parentheses around the first part? Because that part is together on top. So the parentheses say this part was together on top. This part was grouped together, right? And then the 2 moved in front here. I do use the addition because of the multiplication there, and then subtraction because of the division here, and then I move the 4 to the front. Okay. That's about as hard as they'll get. All righty. Okay, so tape in your notes, and then we'll do some more practice tomorrow.